My name is Evgeny Pavlov. I'm the.
Oh, sorry. Could you start from now?
Sorry, sorry. Hi guys, my name is Evgeny Pavlov. I'm the founder of Tech Nomads Club, and it's a community for the talents and innovators globally. And today we have our regular series of podcasts with Meet the Member, and I'd like to welcome the Vladimir Babich, who's the Global Finance Director at Boat Delivery and who's a part of the Tech Nomads Club as well. Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to start the casual talk today and discuss briefly about your background and then early stage of career, and then talk about obviously tech, which you is quite hands-on and know all about it. To an early age, I would say, from point of your expertise. If you can just give a little bit information for our audience, early stage, how you develop yourself to be a global finance director, being Forbes 30 under 30, and so on and so forth. So where you start, you can start from education, from your
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, definitely. So it's I would say it was not like straightforward to me. So it's like kind of long way. I started like investment banking. I started investment banking even I studied like in finance and economics at university, and it was like the most obvious choice after finance degree to get into like investment banking. So I've been like investment banking for 4.5 years at Bank of America and Credit Suisse international banks. So it was a great experience for critical thinking, for like finance, understanding like big picture, how like strategy works for companies. But after this time, I understood I want like to also try to be a bit closer to the business, to be on the different side, to be closer to decision making on the business side. That is why I moved to one of the largest corporate companies in Russia. It was like largest retail company in country, Magnet. So I joined the company as like director of FP&A, financial planning and analysis, and business analytics back then. I managed like more than 25,000 stores. So it's like quite a mature big company. So it was a scale. And when I joined the company, my mission was like to like improve operations, efficiency of operations, at the same time scale business like efficiently, double down on like investments efficiency, also opportunities, figure out like where to invest, how much like to invest, actually grow the business in like the most efficient way. So back then I actually faced with like power of data and numbers. When you're managing like such scale of business, 25,000 stores across the country, you can actually like such scale you cannot visit like any store. It would take probably a few years to visit like all of the stores. At the same time, it was like very powerful when you're working like with the data, with the numbers, and you understand like something, and you can immediately make a decision and change the business, how it goes, like what results you get. That is why for me it was like kind of breakthrough point when I understand like the power of finance and analytics and data. So after 4 years in this like retail company, mature company, I joined Bolt. It's fast growing European and African tech company. So we operate like in like a few regions, Europe and Africa mostly, more than 50 countries right now. So I'm working currently as like director of business analytics and finance, responsible for delivery. In my case, so I actually started as individual contributor. So when I joined company 4 years ago, it was like in delivery specifically, it was like only a few countries. Now we operate like in dozens of countries, and I scaled from like individual contributor, scale up from individual contributor to actually managing multifunctional teams. So right now I'm managing analytics, finance, strategy, pricing, expansion. So more than 5 functions, and in more than like specifically for delivery, more than 20 countries. So
How many people under your management now?
So in my teams, I have 17 people right now. But in overall, we have more than 500 people in delivery. But yeah, it's definitely when you're managing central teams, you have also lots of collaboration with local teams and lots of impact. So on a central level, we create like processes, systems, frameworks, and then try to scale down to local teams.
I think it's one of the recognitions of your result on this, I would say, at your you're under 30 officially, like Forbes 30 under 30. Um, how motivates you this recognition? And because I believe it's a small but good stepping stone to go further.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just if you can elaborate a bit more. I know that when the Forbes selected you, they I think choose the particular criteria. So if you can expand, we know that you are talent. So so, but question is why how they recognize it.
Yeah.
I think there's voting and so on and so forth. But under which nomination
Yeah.
you've been selected? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
If you
under
remember.
under management section. Given back then, it was like a few years ago. Back then, I worked as head of business analytics at Bolt, and already like managed like five teams in my supervision, and it was already like more than 20 countries also under our supervision. So it was kind of large scale, I would say. So that's why I was nominated in management section. But in terms of recognition itself, I cannot say it's like motivation to work for this recognition. So primary motivation is like business results. So we have a goal, we have a business, and when you see what you're doing like on a daily basis, different processes, you follow like you create different like processes, systems, you implement them like on a daily basis, and after some time you see results, and these results like get recognition outside as well. So actually it's nice, but results itself actually it's business results itself it's a goal.
Yeah, much more I think motivational than titles, but still is good a good tick box, let's say, to go further, to go over 30 in the list. So in regards of the your career, so we understood that you kind of build up yourself within the boat, yeah, and the early stage of your career. But what was the moment for breakthrough in the boat? Whether a particular challenging task was given and you just get the promotion, or is any other points?
I would say it was a business goal. So when I joined the company, it was only like in delivery. So we have like 3 business units. We have ride-hailing, taxi business unit. So the most popular, we operate more than 50 countries right now in ride-hailing business. We have micro-mobility, it's like scooters and bicycles, and we have delivery. So I joined specifically delivery to develop like this business with my expertise in like food retail and my expertise like in investment banking. So the main goal, it was like scale business actually from a few countries back then to like billion business, to billion business. And when I started, yes, it was like only a few. It was actually team less than probably 20, 30 people overall in the business, and it was only a few countries. And then actually. You can do everything yourself. You can like build like, let's say, reports, financial models. You can analyze like different business bottlenecks and challenges yourself, but it doesn't help to scale your business. Yeah, you probably solve some specific things, but not scaling the business. And for me, it was breakthrough. Start like thinking out of the box what I can do not today, what I can do for the future. Actually, was like my long-term focus, long-term investment. And definitely for me, the key focus it was investing in people, so recruiting the right people, hiring them, onboarding them, educating them, and actually enabling to grow the business. And to be honest, like probably high level. It sounds probably high level, but actually our goal is we have right now at point A, so where we at right now, and we have also a goal for like point B. And then like what is my goal? It's actually GPS for the business. So I should like choose and build like the optimal way how to go from point A to point B, but also create a system actually to navigate this like step by step, so we can have a control over the path what we are going, and also we reflect on every step we are making as well, just to correct our way through like each point. That is why it's my breakthrough. It was definitely to scale the business from like a few countries to 20 plus countries right now, and it was not trivial goal. So there is like no guidance how to scale this. And actually, right now, yes, we operate such scale quite sustainably, and we continue like growing the business, entering more and more countries in specifically in delivery business. Hopefully it will continue in the next years as well.
In terms of the culture, I would say you talk about hiring and you talk about the moving pace of the developing the business. If you can say in a couple of words or maybe in one sentence, what's the culture of the Bolt? And
Yeah.
you not only looks, but you are, I know you for some time. You're quite a driven person, so there's particular culture I think to get and to motivate and to work together within the Bolt.
No, definitely, and it's a great question, Kevin. I would say it's like very high level. What is it, like culture? But actually, when you operate on a daily basis, it's really critical to have like some specific culture in place. In case of Bolt, first of all, we have very like lean team. So we operate the business, but in central teams we don't have so many people. So even like under my scope, it's like 17 people in like more than 5 functions. It's compared like to mature businesses. I would say it's not a lot of people. That is why we first of all allow people to be entrepreneurial. So we are not limiting with like specific borders. That is why when we are hiring you for specific like let's say domain, it doesn't mean you need just to focus on a specific domain. You always need to go further, go outside of the box, go outside of your domain, collaborate with other people, and impact on other domains as well. So actually, you should contribute to the business across the board, not in a specific area. It's the first one. Second one, I would say, still we operating not very like corporate style, so we don't have lots of like I would say bureaucracy in place, etc. We operate even inside of every domain, inside of every team, like very entrepreneurially. And this is culture coming from our management team. Still, we're trying to keep this culture of startup when everyone should think like entrepreneur. Like there are definitely like traditional decision, but you should suggest like a few decisions and actually to choose not probably the most trivial or the most like classic decision, but the most efficient one. And yeah, that is why I would say this is a culture to have like lean teams. Don't hire lots of people, but actually hire very strong and entrepreneurial people who goes like beyond like traditional borders.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. In terms of um, the question about talent, just we slightly moving from the from topic about the ball, but more for the talents, for the building the teams and build the technical teams. How you can say yourself? What does it mean for you to be a global talent and career builder? So, if you can summarize in a couple of words.
It's
So
a good.
you're a global talent, regardless of the. I mean, whether it's about motivation, it's about scaling yourself at a different level, or how you can identify. Because I think it's reflecting on you and relate to you directly, in my opinion. Yeah.
It's I think it's very important to highlight like global. Yes, if you wanted to be, let's say, on top of not just like one things, but have a global impact, you also need to start thinking how you can scale your expertise, your background, your experience, and how you can impact on like more things. And when I joined the company, for instance, when I joined Bolt, I started, as I said, I started like as an individual contributor, but my impact on overall like business was quite limited if I continue operating as an individual contributor. That is why the key question it was, okay, how can I scale myself and how can I bring more like value and more contribution to the business? And then I started like thinking, okay, I can solve like let's say this problem, but how can I solve like hundreds of this like problems or like challenges, let's say, on a day-to-day operation? First, it's like definitely team. It's hiring and recruiting the right team in place, but you can hire like the best talents. But if you don't give them the right like the right way to operate, principles, systems, and the right like metrics to operate, it can go like the opposite way. So you have like great people in place, but they are not bringing you results actually you're expecting from them. That is why it's first of all recruiting, finding the right people, and secondly creating actually the system. In our case, I believe like one of the successful things, or like things which make difference in our results, it's focusing on inputs rather than like outputs. Let's say you like as a business you're focusing on like GMV, like some top line and bottom line. So the key metrics definitely yes, but on day to day if you're focusing on these metrics, probably you're not going to make any change. You need to understand specifically where to focus and how to focus. And even if you're focusing on second level metrics, it's likely not going to bring your results given it's like too high level. So that's why for us it's also very important to figure out like what metrics it's key for us in the business day to day, and actually set up right like targets for these metrics, and then like double down on them, like in terms of execution, in terms of our focus and day-to-day control. So that's what I mean, like putting the right guidance to the team. It's specifies a specific metric and providing like also targets for them.
I think the leading question is about about building the teams and building, for instance, data analytics teams, and how to make them effective, and give them business goals, because you have quite wide position. So it's about data, it's about analytics, about business metrics. So and you're building the teams, and most of the team members they're quite technical and number driven. So how you align, or which tools maybe do you use, or practices to align and unite the team and get the results.
Get results.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Highlight gets results. Especially for tech industry or like tech company. You have lots of technical people, not only technical people, but analytics, business analytics, data analytics. You need to understand results and how we put people in place, how we structure them. It's like it's very critical. And I think we also had open journey. So we started with more centralized approach, where like all of these people sit like in one place together and working together like on these things. But when you start like building, let's say, analytics team together and kind of like disconnected separately from the business, it's actually also not very good. They start like disconnecting from the business, disconnecting from like day to day, and like at some point of time we start like decentralizing like this technical teams or analytics team into more smaller team, which working very close day to day with like business teams. So what's the current structure? It's more decentralized. So we have like business domains. We have like commercial teams, like operations. We have like finance team, and actually with each business team we have also like a small team of data or business analysts who working with them on the same goals. So like let's say in the commercial team, our goal is like to get more partners in place, but partners also different quality, a different price. So it's we charge different, say, commissions from them. And the question where to focus, how to focus, what is the performance? For instance, we operate more than 50,000 partners right now on the platform. And to manage this scale of partners, you need to understand like what's happening behind them. So that is why you need like specific team who is working specifically on this like on this domain. They expert like in a commercial. They expert in technical side, but they also expert in the commercial. Same for operations, same for finance. And different business teams. At the same time, infrastructure. If you don't have proper infrastructure, if you don't have proper data in place, all other teams would struggle a lot. So that is why we have like separately team, but centralized team who's working centrally on infrastructure to make sure we have the right tools in place, right systems in place, and the reliable data which other teams can rely on.
In terms of the technical teams and business stakeholders, so I mean, the high position ranking people, how you make sure the voice is heard, and I think it's one part of the your I would say day-to-day role. So because you work on the level of C level, and then you working with the technical team as well. So there is any particular report or way of communication, so on and so forth, between technical team and stakeholders, and
it's it's very important to build trust between teams first, but also the right way of collaborating with each other. Given like especially in the mature companies, what I saw were like hundreds or in some cases like thousands of like data people in place. There is like no shortage of data people. So that's why they can sometimes working like in silos, separately from business people. Also business people not feeling, let's say, shortage of resource. That is why they're feeling very comfortable. Okay, probably not today, tomorrow I will ask something, or I will align on something, etc. In our case, first of all, they're working on the same KPIs. So data in data teams, data people in business have the same KPIs, have the same targets as a business team. It's the first one. Secondly, as I said, we're operating very lean teams. That is why we don't have like too many people. That is why there is like prioritization. Let's say business have like 20 requests and we have less people to, let's say, working on this request. What does it mean? Actually, you need to prioritize on the business side what actually important for you, what less important for you. So what's like the number one priority, which you're going to discuss with like data team, with business analytics, let's say. That's like create kind of not urgency, but yes, prioritization when not like data people asking what's the problem for you like on the business side, actually business people coming with like a situation, with a challenge. I want to understand better like this one, or I want to keep deeper like in this particular topic. And to understand this is like limited resource. If like data team will go deeper into specific topic, it means they need to prioritize something different. And this is trade-off. That is why this trade-off decided like on the business side. So this is like principles, and this is like a system we created in our case, like common goals, same goals, and there's like lean teams. We don't have like extra people in place, sit and wait.
Yeah. In terms of the, I think it's quite quite popular now to talk, but there is no need for KPIs. There's OKRs, so objectives, I would say, and some startups they just trying to get rid of the KPIs. And so on and so forth. So what's your opinion on this, and how to still motivate teams? Do you believe it's KPIs, just in your personal opinion, believe KPIs it's still good to have, or it just set as a standard without any expectations, so it must be kind of be at this level, and then or just completely ignore them? So what's your opinion about
Yeah, it's I would say KPIs is like very broad statement, given like different people and different like teams and managers would treat it differently. Let's say like it could be KPI on a very like high level metric, output metric, like let's say GMV or like revenue. So you set KPI to this team, bring me 20% more revenue. It's like one approach to set KPI, and there is like another way when you focus on specific like input, like there is revenue, but behind revenues there are like different drivers. Let's say in our case, in case of delivery business, we're delivering orders, and we have like retention of users. If you provide more quality service, like there is better retention in place, so user like order more frequently from our service. To make service better, we need to understand like how many like let's say bad orders and good orders we have. So bad order, if you delay order, so food you delivering food like 20 minutes later, it's not like hot anymore. It's kind of cold or like warm, and there is like this dissatisfaction in your service. So if you set a target, focus on bad orders and optimize, let's say, bad orders from 20% to 10%. There's like more specific goal, and you know from your business perspective, if you optimize like bad orders from 20 to 10, it would impact on the revenue. It would drive revenue as a result, like in the end. And in such KPIs, in this input metrics KPIs, I believe, in this output metrics for like all of the teams, I believe less, given it would be very like broad statement, and then there is like a mess, given they be focusing on different things and not exactly on the right things. That is why, as a manager, you should decide first of all on the right KPIs, the right metrics to focus on. That is why, I believe in KPIs, but only in the right KPIs.
Oh, I see. So great. In terms of the data or technical teams, you quite have great expertise. And what's the challenge of managing and or building the technical teams? The question is related because at Tech Nomads Club, so in the community, we have a lots of people who is pre-seed stage, seed stage, bootstrapping startups, and so they're all starting, and either they're looking for a technical person or they're building up technical people. And I think from your expertise in the boat, what's the challenge here?
Yeah, we also have lots of like technical people who has like mostly technical background, but they need to work with business people like day to day. And there is a challenge. There is a challenge to speak the same language, to speak one language. Given how they treat like different business challenges or like business things, they will treat it differently. One person from technical perspective, another person from business perspective. So we need to find a bridge how to speak the same language. It's the main bottleneck, I would say. how to how to solve this bottleneck.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, how to
we
solve this
it.
bottleneck.
I mean,
It's a good question. I would say it's also come down how they understand the goal. Given for, let's say, for technical persons, end goal, it could be I will build, like, let's say, some dashboard, or I will build some analysis, and that's it. That's where my, let's say, business goal finish, and then it's like on another side, on the business side, to actually take this data and implement something. If it's right, if it's the case, probably it would be disconnect. That is why for technical people we also set the goal not just like implement something technically, but make extra step to make sure like business stakeholders understand, actually gather feedback. As a result, as I said, we have common the same goals for technical and the business people. That is why both sides actually interested to finish to achieve the end result, to achieve the same end result as we expecting. So that is why I would say yes, it's two things. It's first of all to set the same goals and KPIs, not just like breaking down you doing this one, you doing this part, and second one, it's to make sure like technical people go extra steps, so communicate these expectations to them. So there are like responsibility not finishing only on the technical side. The responsibility is finishing when technical things implemented on the business side.
so it's mostly kind of they should have a technical team should have a soft skills and way of communication.
Exactly. And as a
explain
manager,
themselves at least at basic level,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah, ideally not a basic level. Ideally, it's stage 2. It's when they actually understand each other quite well. They speak not only the same language, but they feel each other. Yes, and then this like business and technical teams can work very smoothly and fast. This is ideal way of collaboration. But as a manager, you need to create like environment. You need to create a system to also enable this. Given it's not happening from the beginning, you hire someone, especially who like most of background working on the technical side, and say you should work closely with this like business person. For sure, it doesn't work. It's not going to work. You need to work this way. You need to create a system. You need to enable these people, and after some time, after some effort, it would start bringing results.
in terms of the boat, in how many countries approximately you operate now?
50, more than 50, I would say. In total, the company is all of 3 businesses.
Yeah, and interesting question is following in regards of the 50 countries. How you manage to operate the teams, I believe, because it has all different culture, and it's not only about manage the teams, but bringing the plus minus unified results. So, is any particular strategy which you can explain? It's very interesting. Like you probably, as you said, African region, European region, so on and so forth.
Different places.
Yeah, different places.
Very different places. And actually, like in our case, there is a background, and even there is like internal joke. So our founder, like sometimes joking, so we made a bad job in terms of fundraising. He constantly saying, I made a bad job in terms of fundraising. Our peers, our friends fundraised more. That is why our job right now to be more efficient. In terms of like people, in terms of what we results getting from smaller teams, lean teams, but we should get better results. That is why when you operate 50 people, we cannot scale, especially like central functions to local level. Otherwise, it would be like huge teams locally as well. It would be significant cost. It means actually we need to spend more time on teams rather than our users. And in our like DNA, it's our like in our culture as well. We trying to do the opposite. We trying to be like very efficient inside and actually pass all of the savings we have on the customer. Better pricing, better quality of service. That is why when we understand this culture, these principles, we understand we need to create something very efficient on a central level, and then similarly and efficiently scale it down to local basis. That is why in central teams, first of all, we are focusing on frameworks and principles. So we develop a framework, and then we also working to explain this framework to local teams. And then they have a tool, they have a framework, they have a system as well, and they can make decision making locally. So we empowering them with like systems, with tooling, and with the frameworks.
So in terms of tooling frameworks and systems, it's adapt to the local teams, or it's pretty much standardized. So you're trying to.
So you create principles. So let's say you wanted to grow the business, but to grow the business, you also need to be efficient. For sure, you can easily like grow the business investing just more, but it's not the case. You need, let's say, to optimize somewhere. You need to find somewhere like a savings, and then to grow the business further, you can reinvest the savings. In case of Africa, you can, let's say, optimize like one side of the business. You can optimize how you work with restaurants. You're working more efficiently with restaurants. You're saving a bit more on the restaurant side. You reinvest into like some more incentives, discounts to users, and you drive the growth. In case of Europe, actually, you have like different things. You have like payment processing. You can optimize payment processing or customer support. Let's say you can make sure your customer support working more efficiently. Utilization of customer support team higher than before. It's a kind of different problem. And also you have a saving. You can reinvest in the saving. So you create a system where they're working on specific local things. They're different. And they have a principle then what like the next step after this. So that's why, yes, we have unified, let's say, principles first. It started everything with principles. Secondly, it's systems. And thirdly, it's tooling. And then we definitely showcasing them like different approaches how to apply this. So we try to teach them how to work with this like combination of tools. And after some time, they start like applying to specific challenges and business cases.
Interesting insight. If you can maybe, if you allow to, can explain maybe one example or just a challenge you faced on cross-border implementation for any particular region, or just not specific region, just in general, any challenge.
Yeah, it's a good question, and especially for tech company, it's always a challenge for everyone to grow the business and to grow the business efficiently. So it comes down to like how you invest money. So in our case, in case of like marketplace business, you can invest like in five channels. You can invest like in discounts, you can invest like in pricing, you can invest like in marketing, you can invest in partnerships, and like more, let's say, more local things. Like not lots of, but there are like investment channels to do. And in Africa, let's say marketing less powerful and discounts more powerful, and other way around in Europe. So you probably can bring more efficiency from marketing and less efficiency from discounts. And so kind of opposite situation. And at the same time, you need to manage both regions, and you need to get results from the both regions. So the solution here, it's actually to create a North Star metric. So we create like let's say there is definitely very broad KPI or broad metric ROI, but then how to calculate this ROI, how to approach this ROI. In our case, actually, it's what you get like bottom line. So in our case, we focusing not just like driving some volumes. So we less care about volumes. We more care about like bottom line, actually profits, what we get profits. And then like every team testing different channels. As I explained, in case of Africa, it's one channel. In case of Europe, another channel. But inside of Europe, you have like Eastern Europe, you have Central Europe, you have Western Europe, and also inside of Europe, you have different channels. In one case, let's say one channel of marketing inside of marketing working, let's say paid advertising in Western Europe. But in Eastern Europe, it would be influence marketing or different type of marketing. And if you create the same North Star metric, and then you create a framework how to assess your investment efficiency, how to understand is it efficient or not, and you measure it the same way across the places, and all of them then testing and bringing, okay, this is, in my case, I can get best ROI, this type of ROI, X and Y. And in other region, okay, I can get like best result, but from incentives, X and Y. And then you scaling this principle and you scaling this like North Star metric. Wow. And it's quite easy to operate. You can operate 20 countries, you can operate 50 countries. You can operate with this principle actually in 100 countries.
Cool. Yeah. Just one question is a little bit out of the topic, the teams. Just maybe in a couple of words, if you can explain your opinion, because you know the details and you understand the structure of the company, how both manage to scale, and there's other competitors was on the market
Yep.
before, and how the boat managed to scale. I used quite often boat
Yep.
because it's I think when it's traffic, it's easy to to find the driver at the boat.
No, it's great
the
to
boat
hear.
up, you know.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's a great to hear you're also using our service. Hopefully, all of the services, not only one. But yeah, it's different. It's different. It's definitely comes down to our operating principle. So we trying to be as much efficient as we can internally. So we don't have like extra people. We operate like clean teams. We try to save as much as we can internally, and then we're reinvesting everything to our customer. So we don't get like direct, let's say, profit. We don't pursue like the crazy margins. But for us, it's very important to be user driven. In such case, we can provide like best service in terms of ETAs, so that you can find taxi like in 3 to 5 minutes maximum. At the same time, price is not crazy as well. So you want to get
Which is,
fast, but also price is reasonable.
yeah.
And it's how you get. It's first of all you have yes, you need to save everywhere. Internally, you need to eliminate all of the efficiencies. Firstly, it's starting with us. It's like with teams, and we don't have. I cannot hire like 30 people or 50 people. I understand why. That is why I need to also think out of the box how I can scale the business without like 50 people. How I can scale the business with like 15 people or 20 people in my team. How can I get more efficiencies? So it's also get down to prioritization. It's what things we focusing on. How we, if we find the best practice, how to scale up this best practice as well. So this is all about like lean efficiency and internal efficiency.
Cool. I think we'll talk about our last chapter. We talk about trends, future trends in tech. If you can cover leadership, now it's AI is very trendy.
Yep.
Yeah. So today just WhatsApp offered me to write an AI text already. So yeah, so on and so forth. So in terms of future trends in your industry, what you're already implementing, what you could talk about, we can
Yep.
share, and what you're thinking is going to be future trends in terms of AI. I believe. Yeah. What's your opinion on this? How it's going to be reshaping the?
Yeah, definitely very popular topic. Everyone, I would say, and discussing and even debating on this one. I would focus on my function specifically. I would say like business analytics and like analytics in general, and especially in the tech companies, we have lots of like data, all process data driven. So you operate small teams. You have lots of data, and you need to know how to work with the data. So right now you're hiring like data analyst or business analyst, work with the data set, look inside data set, bring me insights. I believe it's definitely coming. So it would be some natural language models when you type, let's say, request as a, like in Google. So analyze me like which restaurant failed like orders last week, and then it brings like results like in, let's say, in ChatGPT or in any other models. This is like restaurant, etc. So you don't actually need someone to like making SQL or like making some extra effort to get this like insight. And then like business and data people will be mostly focusing on actually knowing this insight and working on the next step. So focusing on the next step, how to improve based on this insight rather than to getting this insight. So it's the first one. And also I'm very excited about like predictive analytics. So especially in such scale as we have right now, like more than 50 countries, we have like more millions of users like monthly, tons of data. And we can look not only in the past, we can look in the future as well. So predictive analytics. So we already like have lots of data science models and data science team in place. but I think it would be more and more like an efficient and more accurate in the future with more tooling in place. So that is why you can easily get based on historical trends and numbers, you will better understand what would happen, likely to happen in the next week, in the next months in your business. That is why you will be focusing actually on the future rather than on the past.
Following question in terms of the leadership on this occasion, you have AI tools,
Yep.
and as a talent, as a C-level executive, so on and so forth, how it's going to be reshape the leadership and decision making from point of the your skills.
Yeah.
Do you believe it's going to be required different set of skills or same set of skills?
Yep.
It just going to be
I think it would be probably the same set of skills, but a bit different focus on day to day. So right now, let's take data or business analysts. So all of them need some technical knowledge like Python or at least like SQL, and also they need like critical and business thinking, like two sides. And right now, let's say they use like 50-50. 50% of times they're using like technical knowledge, 50% of times they're using like business knowledge and critical thinking. Like in the hopefully in the future with more like adoption of AI tools, etc., they will be using less of technical skills, but still they need to use it. So instead of 50%, they will be using like 20%, and 75% would be double down on like critical thinking, business understanding, communication as well. That is why they cannot have it. They need to have like also technical skills, but they should be even more proficient on the business side. That is why I cannot say it would like destroy some of the like skills or industries. It's not going to destroy it, but depends on how you use. It would depend how you will succeed as well.
in terms of the there is any risks in automation and
Yeah.
implementation of AI? Can you see any risk and how to avoid it? Yeah, because you work with a huge amount of data, and you know how to operate in jungle with this, and you allow AI to use this data and to define the metrics, maybe or summarize it and predict it. So do you think there is any risk, and how to mitigate in general?
It's popular topic,
Yes.
100%, but especially when you operate day to day, you fully understand it's not risk. Given unfortunately AI cannot automate like 100% of your work or 100% of like some things. It could help you with some things. That is why for me AI is more like copilot. So you become like more efficient in most of the things. You can do more and faster, but you should be on top of this. So for instance, you should ask the right questions. You should focus on the right things. AI unfortunately cannot choose the right like topic to focus on. It could accelerate, let's say, data gathering or data analysis, but if you ask the right question. That is why I think it's just like a matter of how you use AI and how you proficient in using the tooling and infrastructure. So that is why, I believe it would bring lots of efficiency. It would bring lots of results if you know how to use it. It would be your copilot. It would be your friend. Looking forward to it to even more integrated in day to day. Given I like from my personal perspective, like all my teams using it daily, not even daily, like hourly. But can you integrate it more? Definitely you can, and you will get more results. And probably instead of hiring like 50 people, we can get more results with like 20 people in place instead of 50. It's great. It's like it's more efficient. But can you get these results like with 10 instead of 20? This is debatable.
Cool. The last question I think I'll ask you. We usually, at the end of the podcast, we usually ask member to give advice for the youngsters or who just launching the business or join the and developing their own career, so on and so forth. So you've been for I believe more than 5 years in finance, tech, and you scaled the companies where you work for. So it's kind of a great result already. As I said, I think it's still not even middle of your career, still I think beginning good journey to go ahead. So would you advise which maybe techniques, skills or motivation to use to be better, I think day by day, how to reach at least where you are now?
Yeah. No, it's in terms of skills, it's really interesting. Even if you look at the past, how like world is changing, it's like super fast right now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot, what was like in focus 5 years ago, now it definitely not like a key things to focus on. So that's why I think the first recommendation definitely is be like open-minded and be flexible and adaptable. So technologies and industries will continue changing, like 100%. It's no doubt. So that's why we don't know what would be like, let's say, trend in 3 or 5 years. Probably like some of the things would like deprioritize, so less popular in the future. Let's say I started like investment banking 5 years, so like 7 years ago, it was like it's super popular. It's everyone
Yeah.
wanted to like to break into investment banking. Right now, it's not anymore the case. Everyone wants to join like a tech startup. Everyone wants to join like AI startup. Would it be the case like in 5 years? I don't know. That's why be open-minded in your journey. Don't plan like for years, for a long time. Focus on the current, let's say, on the current state to get like results from the current state. And to be open to new skills. Probably my skills would be in like in few years also not popular, and I need to learn something new. That's why be open minded to new, to learn new things and adopt them fast.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for having.
No, it's
It
pleasure.
was
Thanks
pleasure.
for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming. So it was a good talk. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Yeah. Done. Yeah. Спасибо.